Hey guys, welcome back to some more Williams Road to Glory here today, and this is the Russian Grand Prix, a race in which normally it's quite a boring, uninteresting race, but I can tell you for a fact this one is very, very spicy, so do stay tuned for it because it's going to be a lot of fun and I can't wait for it. In terms of the previous race at Singapore, if you haven't seen it, I'll leave it linked up in the top right. It was a must-win race with a lot of controversy, so go check it out if you haven't done so already. And guys, one last thing, we hit 60,000 subs overnight, so a big thank you to everyone that subscribed, everyone that supported the content. I really appreciate it. And if you guys are going to enjoy this video, leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe if you're new. But without further ado, let's jump into the action at Sochi and let's see what happens around the Russian Grand Prix. Now, first of all, we look at the weather forecast, and this weekend it looks dry, no rain expected, as we then move into the R&D progression chart. And this weekend we have a minor upgrade on the car. Compared to everybody else, no big changes. We're still the 5th quickest team and trying to chase down Racing Point and Ferrari. So still some work to do there. We've got a major aerodynamic upgrade on the way. If that arrives, it should be a big difference and a big boost. It's a drag reduction upgrade as well, so it's going to make the car a lot quicker, not just in terms of aerodynamics, but also straight line speed. So yeah, we moved to practice and we had a pretty decent session, but you guys know by now this track is not one of my favorites. It's probably my top 3 worst tracks of the entire calendar. I just don't enjoy Sochi. I find it very uninspiring and uneventful, and just, you know, a real lack of character. But nonetheless, after practice we scored 900 R&D points. We then went on to change our engine components, and the reason for that, we're going to do it after practice and not after qualifying, so that we don't incur grid penalties, which is something that happened in the last episode. So we're learning from our lessons and not making the same mistake twice. But with that said, we move into qualifying 1. And yeah, we're going to see if we can try and use some pace in this car, because recently we've been in some great form. The car's been working really well, and there's reasons to feel optimistic about our performances. So in Q1, currently on a set of soft tyres here, P20 with about 4.5 minutes to go. This was aimed to be my one and only lap in Q1, so we're going to see if we can hit that as we make our way through the final couple of corners here, just making sure we don't throw the lap away and keep it nice and tidy. Now through the final corner here as we run to the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 28.4, which puts us in P12. Now at the time I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't get through, but I went out again on a second lap and we didn't need it. You know, everyone done their laps, I saw that we were safe, so I just backed off. Pretty much simple as that. No need to go for another lap, and you know, just try and save the tyres a little bit if possible. So you can see at the end of Q1, Russell P10, we go through in P13. So both cars into Q2, and the pace looking pretty decent so far. So yeah, speaking of Q2, this was the end of my first time lap here, setting a banker lap, and we're going to see what it is as we go through the final corner, about to cross the line, and it's a 28.3, so a tenth quicker than our Q1 time. So slightly more improved pace. We go P8 at the time. Eventually we got pushed down to P11, so we need to improve, and we're currently in the dropout zone. So is this lap going to be enough for us to get into Q3? Let's find out. Let's go for a full lap of the Sochi Autodrome. There we go, across the line, purple sector 3. It's a big, strong end to the lap. We get into the 127s, and we move up to P6 and qualify for Q3. Russell also gets into Q3 as well in P10, so both Williams cars into Q3, which is quite a historic occasion. We've not seen that too often, and I don't think we've seen that around a proper just open world racetrack that often. So George into Q3, great to see, and we now move into that Q3 session. So currently at the end of my first lap, there was a bit of an issue here, so I made a bit of a rookie mistake. Now what I mean by that is I used my final fresh set on this first run, and I realised pretty much on the in-lap that I had done that mistake, because it means I'm not going to have a fresh set of tyres available for my final run. So we're going to have to deliver this lap with a used set of tyres. So yeah, the banker lap currently at 28.0, pretty much a 28.1. We're in P9 right now, so let's go for a full lap of Sochi again. This time I'm going to commentate it, and we're going to see what we can do with the used set of tyres. So DRS wide open through turn 1, now down towards turn number 2. You're going to brake at the 100-meter board on the left-hand side as a reference, down to 4th gear, and try and pick up your apex, which I do not do. I completely missed the apex of turn 2 there, and we're about 3/4 of a tenth down as we make our way flat out through turn 3 here, trying to maximise the lap time. Now through turn 4, picking up your apex, using all the exit and run-off curb that you need to make sure you gain as much time as possible. Turn 5, nice and early on the apex there, really aggressive, and actually it worked out quite well for us as we then head into the next sequence of corners here. So another kind of 90 degrees right, just about keeping it on the track limits, and then a little kind of double apex left through here. Important to kind of let the car run wide and use all the runoff. Then hard on the brakes for another 90 degree right this time, again using all the runoff through here, and we get a great exit. And that was a corner where I made a bit of a mistake on the last lap. I ran a bit too deep into the corner on the brakes. So right now, over a tenth up, this is a good lap from us as we hit the brakes onto the back straight chicane. A little bit wide through there, missing our apex completely, and losing a bit of time throughout the rest of this section because I was kind of offline. Then into a little left-right, again tricky section through here, off cambered through the left, and then the right has a bit of a nasty bump on the apex. So we've lost a bit of time in sector 3. Now making our way into the final 2 corners here, throwing the car in full commitment, making the most of all the curbing, and then across the line, and we improved by half a tenth. So in the end, not a huge improvement margin. 28.0, we actually went quicker in our Q2 lap with a 27.998. So yeah, a bit of a shame, and not really maximising the car's potential. I feel like a 27.8 was possible, but P7 would have been the absolute maximum in the car, not much more than that. So yeah, George Russell actually out-qualified us. He did a 28.004, so fair play. George P8, we finished in P9, and Hamilton in P1, Gasly in the front row as well, and Verstappen only P5. So a bit of a mixed-up grid as we wrap up qualifying. Bottas outscores us in the rivalry, and yeah, we've only got a 1-point lead heading into the race, so we need to try and turn this around on Sunday. Either way, guys, that's going to be it for qualifying here today. We're now going to move into the race for the Russian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to Sochi and the Russian Grand Prix, one of 8 cities in the world to play host to both the Olympics and a Formula One race. It's a Grand Prix that's proven difficult to crack for anyone beyond the first 2 rows of the grid in recent years, so let's see if that can change today. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about Martinez. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Albon, Max Verstappen and Vettel, Kvyat, Russell, Martinez and Sergio Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Lance Stroll and Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean, Giovinazzi and Nobuharu Matsushita. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Well, here we are then for the race at Sochi. We start from P9. Russell to our right starts from P8. And we've got big fish to fry in this race here today. Verstappen and Hamilton are ahead of us, so we need to try and be aggressive. And the reason we have to be aggressive compared to other races more than usual is because the strategy here is very, very inflexible. So there's not much variation or things you can do differently around here. Medium to soft or soft to medium, whatever you prefer or whatever you start on, that's going to be the strategy here today. We're starting on softs because we qualified on that tyre, so yeah, pretty much like the rest of the top 10. All we can do maybe is a 1 lap undercut or a 1 lap overcut, and we need to just try and be aggressive on the first lap and try and make up those places, and then whenever we get a chance, absolutely yeet it on the brakes and hope that we can pull off some dive bombs. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully we can turn it around. I'm aiming for a top 4 finish, so let's see if we can make that a reality here for the Russian Grand Prix. Okay, here we go. Let's try and get a clean start here. Long run to turn 2. Lights out, away we go. It's a good clean start from us. Reaction time's on point, but Perez gets off to an absolute stormer in the Aston Martin. As we head down towards turn 2, I'm going to try and get on the outside line here if possible. I want to be careful though, and actually Stroll goes for a huge lunge down the inside, and we end up losing out to both Aston Martins at the start, which is not what I had planned, but unfortunately I chose the outside line. It didn't really work for me, so that's the way it goes. As we get a tap in the rear, that was Leclerc, I believe. No wing damage from what I can tell on his car, but that was a definite tap in the rear there, which caused me to get a bit loose. Right, let's crack on with this. Let's see if we can get back past both of the Racing Point Aston Martins here, and see if we can get onto the back of Russell again and try and make some progress. The most important thing though, as always, the first 2 laps the AI run maximum power, so once lap 3 rolls around, they're going to be a bit more vulnerable. So that's what we're going to try and aim for. But let's see if we can get Perez here. I'm going to see if we can get within dive bomb range. Best believe we're going to send a dive bomb here. First class stamp. Here we go. On the brakes, down the inside of Perez. Job done. That's what I'm talking about. Right, Stroll's next. Let's get him. Lap 3. DRS now enabled. Let's see if I can get Stroll here. Do I have enough straight line speed for this kind of overtake? Using all the ERS that I have, can I get within range? Down the inside, it's a big lunge. We get it slowed down just in time, and we make it work. So there we go. Another moved on, ticking that off the list. We're now back to where we started. Let's get after George Russell now. See if we can get past him as well. Yellow flag behind. Could that be an early safety car in this race? That'd be interesting. I don't think I'm going to pit though, even if it is an early safety car. Magnussen out of the race, and there we go, safety car deployed, as expected. Right, let's just chill. We've still got some tyres. So far, so good. Safety car in this lap. Just going to try and get a bit of temperature in the tyres before we get underway. Right, here we go. Let's see if we can get a nice clean restart here. Everyone's getting kind of checked up here by the yellow, but now we're green, and I've had a great restart. Oh my god, Vettel's out of the race. Oh my goodness me, yellow flag, I can't pass Russell just yet. George, whoa, I've got wing damage. I got squeezed by George and now I've got wing damage. Okay.
Some information on Vettel, they're retiring from the race.
Why couldn't that have been a virtual safety car? Oh my god, I've got damage. Right, I'm going to try and drive through it. That was very, very scary. Let's see if I can keep the pace up with some understeer on the front end. I feel like I'm going to struggle though. Let's see. Okay, so far it's not too bad. I think I can manage this damage. I mean, it's only minor, but it doesn't feel as bad. It's actually giving me a bit of stability in some areas where I kind of need it anyway, so it's not terrible. I feel quicker than George, so I think I'm going to try and look to pass him. But then again, I'm quite happy just kind of sitting in his DRS. I think that might be a better option, to be honest, at this stage. I will see what happens. If I feel like I can go a lot quicker, then I'll try it. But for now, I'm quite happy just to follow George. And as long as we just get this to the pit stop phase, to the normal scheduled pit stop lap, maybe extended by 1 more, and then I'll just get a front wing change at my regular pit stop. That would be great. So let's see how this goes. I think I'm going to go for this. DRS, rich mix, and ERS. Full power here. Get past our teammate George Russell. Down the inside we go. And we're through. Up into P7. I'm going to see if I can maybe pull away in dirty air. I can definitely notice the understeer when I get super close. So maybe in clean air we can just push a little bit more and try to create a bit of a gap. And also kind of use Russell as a bit of a, you know, a rear gunner to the traffic behind, so they stop following me. Let's see if that's the case or not. But either way, personal best. Let's push on here and see what kind of pace we have now. Getting close to Albon here. I wonder, can I put up a move on the Red Bull? A little bit far back, but similar range to what it was to George Russell. Here we go, draining the battery here. Red Bull seems pretty fast on the straight. But we go down the inside anyway. Get it slowed down just about. And we're through. Hopefully George can entertain himself by trying to get past one of the Red Bulls. But we're now P6. Fiat up next. I'm really working hard here, squeezing everything out of the car in terms of performance. Looks like a couple of cars are pitting, so Verstappen's in there. And Fiat, we're going to go for one more. Let's see if we can make this work. Russell pits as well. Okay, it's been a great in-lap, matching my personal best. But we're now going to box for the mediums, and we're going to get a front wing change as well. Let's see, it looks like the majority of cars are going to pit this lap. I'm hoping we don't get held, that's the key thing really. And that's the one thing that worries me. It looks like there's not going to be a super busy pit lane, and Ocon actually has got a 5-second penalty, so he must have had an issue under the safety car maybe, or the VSC. Right, Hamilton's ahead. Hamilton's long gone. I don't think we're going to challenge for the podium today. I think P5 maybe against Fiat, that could be a good target. But let's see how the pit stop is. We need to be quick. Come on, boys. Quick turn around on the front wing here. Right, there we go. So we're behind Sainz and Ricciardo and Albon as well. There goes Russell. So he's going to be ahead of all of them. So there should be around P9, P10. We need a strong lap here just to get us back in the race. There's Perez behind us on hard tyres, but we need to get onto the back of Sainz straight away, so this outlap is key. We need to use and show our pace straight away. A few more cars in the pit lane. Let's see how many places we've truly lost here. Going to use quite a bit of ERS on this pit straight just to make sure we build up some speed. There's Stroll, so we're going to be hopefully just ahead. He's on the hard tyre. I should be able to outbrake him here into turn 2. Around the outside on some nice warm mediums. Okay, so P11, I believe that's net position, so we've got work to do here. Right, let's try and fight back if we can. I think this will have to be the one. Let's make sure we make it count this time. Second time the charm. Look at the speed difference. As we close in on Sainz. Don't know what Sainz is doing there. I'm on the left, he's got to leave me a bit of room, pal. Not sure what the hell happened there, but we're okay, no damage. I was a little bit worried I may have got some front right end plate damage. Right, P10, Albon next, and then there's Leclerc after that. Russell holding down a solid P6 at the moment. I want to try and help him out if I can. Right, let's set up Alex for the move here. I ran in a bit hot there and a bit deep on the brakes, but this should still be an achievable overtake. Going to have to use the rest of my ERS though to get close here. Down the inside. Massive lunge there, dive bomb on the inside of Albon, but we're through. Right, P9. Leclerc next, then it's Ricciardo after that. Okay, so we're on the back of Ricciardo now. This isn't good though because Leclerc's dragging him along. Leclerc passed him a couple of laps ago, and he's dragging Ricciardo with him, and they're both catching George Russell, so not ideal, but I don't have that much pace right now. I do wonder if I should have changed my wing because my pace was actually okay. With the wing damage, I probably, in hindsight, could have held on and just kept track position because we would have been a lot closer to Fiat in P5 actually, so it hasn't really worked out how I expected in this stint so far. Still a long way to go, but definitely not the pace increase that I'd hoped for with the full front wing, that's for sure. Leclerc just starting to put some pressure on Russell. Ricciardo can't quite keep up, and I'm right on his rear. I need to try and get him here if I can. Nice exit there as we match our personal best. Feels like the Alpine has some pretty solid straight line speed though. I'm not really close enough here as Leclerc goes for the move on Russell up ahead. I can't really get close enough to Ricciardo here unfortunately. Out of turn number 2 and now through 3. Looks like Russell's going to get done twice over here. Let's just take a back seat real quick and see what happens. This could be the opportunity we need. This little battling, here we go. Bit of oversteer, but we've managed to get on the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. Gonna give him the squeeze there and put him off. There we go. Right, P8. Let's get Russell now, and then try and get Leclerc after that. Right, let's see if I can get George here. I don't think I will. He's going to have DRS on Leclerc, unless he has literally no... Okay, he doesn't have DRS up. That's surprising, actually. That's going to make things a lot easier for me. Here we go, to the outside, wasting no time. Wasting none of my time, and wasting none of George's time as we make the move easily. Let's go after Leclerc now. If I can finish P6, I'll take that, considering the issues we've had this race. Personal best, 31.6. But I'm not within DRS of Leclerc. He's pushing quite hard at the moment. The pace from Charles is actually really strong. And Russell now under pressure from Ricciardo. It's going to be tricky. I don't really have any ERS left to work with either, so it's going to be a tough one to pull off this one. I just can't get within DRS range of Charles Leclerc. I just don't have enough pace to do it. And I'm completely out of ERS. I'm quicker through sectors 1 and 3, but he's so much quicker than me in sector 2. Meanwhile, behind looks like Russell and Ricciardo are about to swap places, so I'll let them get on with it. I'm going to see if I can try and get close enough to Leclerc on this lap, maybe. I just can't do it. I can't get within a second. Leclerc's too fast. Looks like Leclerc's flicked the switch, and just like the rest of the AI now, they're all running max power mode. Ricciardo has just passed Russell on the pit straight, so I think this is where we're going to finish in this race, unfortunately. And there we go, Bottas wins. 1 minute 30.7 though for Hamilton, as he takes the fastest lap, but Bottas responds. He needed that for the championship. That's a big result for Valtteri, and what a response. And I think the championship is going to get even closer, because Hamilton is P2, Verstappen, who was the leader, is now P3, so things are going to get even closer, but we finish in P7, so it's a bit of a hammer blow here today, which is not going to help one bit.
A great race then, and a fantastic win here in Sochi. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, there we go then. That is it for the Russian Grand Prix, and I have to say, quite an entertaining Russian Grand Prix. Not something I had in mind, but Bottas picks up the win. Hamilton second with the fastest lap. Verstappen third, so the top three in the championship, or my three rivals in the championship, more like finishing the top three in the race. Gasly P4, Kvyat P5, so a strong race for AlphaTauri actually, and they bring back a few points in the rivalry versus us in the constructors. Leclerc P6 for Ferrari ahead of ourselves, Ricciardo, Russell and Albon. Missing out on the top 10, Lando, Ocon, Sainz, Stroll, Perez, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Matsushita, Sebastian Vettel and Kevin Magnussen out of the race. We look at the standings, and after that race we are still in second place, but we are 20 points off Max Verstappen. Hamilton 7 points behind, and Bottas closes the gap, so the top four in that race went from being covered by 40 points to being covered by 30 points, so things getting much closer as we head to Japan for the next race. In terms of the constructors, we're still third, and we've got a pretty healthy lead. I'm pretty comfortable and convinced now that we're going to finish third in the constructors, so there's no big threat from behind. So yeah, all the focus now turns to the Drivers' Championship and, you know, fighting for the world title. So yeah guys, that's it for the race here at Russia. We're now going to move into the upgrades. Well, after the race, Bottas picks up 3 massive points over us, and just when we thought we had the rivalry back under control, Bottas swoops back and takes a 2-point lead with only 5 more points up for grabs. So we need to pretty much dominate the next weekend to try and, you know, re-overtake him on the rivalry. Driver Acclaim, not much of a change, so let's jump into the upgrades. Well, here we are then, back in the office, 1,750 R&D points invitational event on the 4th, which we are going to skip as we don't really need the acclaim. So let's go into the upgrades and let's have a look. So we currently have a major aerodynamic upgrade on the way. We're going to add to that, and we're going to go back to the chassis, and we're going to go for this one here. We have just enough points to purchase it. It's for the weight reduction. If that arrives, we should potentially be the second best team in the chassis department. This is a big upgrade for us, so we're going to get that on the car. Do I want to rush it? No thanks. I'm going to play it safe. We want that on, for sure, without any issues. So hopefully that will arrive. And you can see with the upgrades we've got planned, we should potentially become the 3rd best team on the grid in the next couple of races if all goes well. But now we're going to move on to the next race in Japan. Let's see if the front wing gurney flap arrives. And we're also going to get a couple of extra resource points as well. Well, it's good news all round. The upgrade has arrived, no failures, so as it stands right now, we've just got that major chassis upgrade on the way, and hopefully, if that arrives, we'll take another step forward heading into the closing stages of the season where it really matters. Every last bit of performance we can get is going to make a big difference. And looking at the kind of R&D tree right now, there's no more big performance upgrades really besides these ones here, but even then, they're only DRS upgrades, which I don't feel like they're a major performance boost overall. Even on the chassis, this is an ultimate one, but that's for tyre wear. And then on the engine, we can't go any further in terms of engine power, so the best we can do is probably some ERS upgrades like this one here. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. You never know, we can maybe squeeze something out, but in terms of performance, the car is pretty much at the end of its life right now within the confines of the fabrication. The good news is, on the aerodynamics, the team are investing on fabrication level 2 right now, so hopefully that will arrive soon and we can push on with the aero upgrades. But guys, that is going to be it from me here today. The next race is Japan, my favourite race of the entire season, so tune in for that one. If you guys enjoyed this episode, leave a like, subscribe for more. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes if that's possible, guys. I'd absolutely love it if we could. And if you haven't done so already, guys, check out the 2 videos on screen, and a big shout out to the members as always for supporting. But guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see all of you next time. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.